when is the next referendum going to be proposed? Because I think that's very important.
So what we're currently in the process of doing is we're working through Mr. Tague's office, because what we had was we had an opportunity to meet with the mayor's office and to have conversations about help. We need help. How can you help us? We are having conversations about if we're going to go out to another referendum, or is there anything that the township is able to assist us with. So what we're doing is we're doing two things currently. We had our data comprised and compiled. Unfortunately, due to the horrific weather, we did not have our LA and CE meeting where we had on the agenda to discuss, and we are ready to discuss the survey, because we want to get the input from the stakeholders, how they feel about the referendum and so forth. And then we also had Mr. Tague go out to our estimator and break down all of the components of the referendum to say HVAC, boiler, roof, Applegarth, middle school, HVAC, thank you, the chillers from the roof, all the different components. And we just got back literally within the last few days the estimations. So what's going to happen now is we're going to sit down, we're going to give it to the Board of Education, we're going to go over the survey, and we're going to get a feel for what our next steps will be. We didn't want to rush into anything because we want to see if it's at all possible. We're bringing it back to the mayor, which we were asked to do, to see if there's any assistance or help that we could possibly get through the township for the pending high needs issues, like the roof, HVAC, boilers.
But did we miss an opportunity to put a referendum on the November ballot if we stuck with that?
I'd like to make a point of order. That's not on the agenda.
No, the whole, yes, this is a procedural thing. Thank you for your point of order.
That's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda. But it has to do.
The referendum is not an agenda item. This is for agenda items
Madam
only.
President, it has to do with going out and changing the vote.
No, it does not.
Well, it does to me, and I think that it's legitimate. But I will move on for the sake of, because I don't do this arguing kind of thing. I do believe that if Ms. Allen presented to the committee, that presentation should have been available. This is a very serious change for the citizens of Monroe. That presentation should have been available to the public. This is the Board of Education public meeting. And to say that everybody can go and look at that, that is not what I believe the intent and purpose of the Open Public Meetings Act. This is where the public comes to hear the deliberation and the discussion. That presentation should have been for all of the public at the public meeting. I would ask you to table this based on the fact that the public wasn't fully informed as to this. And I'd like to talk about the possible consequences of the change. I talked about the referendum, that the time we should be using for those purposes. I think it's actually less democratic. When we changed over to the November election, I thought, well, wait a minute, the voters aren't going to have a choice on the budget. They're still not going to have a choice on the budget in April. If they vote the budget down, it's just a matter of a few tweaks and the voters will be overridden. And if you think that it's going to be okay to ask people to go way over the cap and pay higher taxes. Now, I know there's problems with that, but if we're going over the cap, how are we ever going to pass a referendum? You're not listening to the voters. The way you parse this is not going to work. Based on, you are really representing the people of Monroe. We haven't really been engaged. You're making these decisions without the public. The referendum should speak for itself. They have failed. So the public is telling you we need a different way to do this. The cost of the election, I asked that the resolution either be tabled or provided another time. And you mentioned something like a carrot and a stick, and I think that's wrong. And I'm sure, could you give me 30 seconds?
No, I'm sorry, I cannot.
Because you don't want to hear the truth. Right. Thank you.
No, because that wouldn't be fair to the rest of the members of the public that had 4 minutes. And just so I would like
If they
to...
had asked for it, you could have made that decision.
And I would just like to clarify, the Finance Committee meeting was publicly available to anybody to come here to watch the presentation. The meeting notice was posted, as we always do. The video of the meeting is available online to anybody, and that is something that we have changed as a board in recent years. Previously, under other boards, committee meetings were not televised, they were not recorded, and they were not posted to the website. So we do a very good job here in Monroe at being very transparent, and anyone who wanted to come could have come and watched it live here in person, or they could continue to watch it on our website. Thank you. Anybody else wishing, I'm sorry, Mr. Arminio, you're out of order. Anybody else wishing to speak?